know that there are about 10 million adults who smoke cigarettes in Great Britain? And did you know that 2/3 of smokers actually start before the age of 18? In Great Britain, 22% of adult men and 17% of adult women are smokers. Now, smoking rates have more than halved since 1974, but every year over 100,000 smokers in the UK die from smoking-related causes. Hello and welcome to World No Tobacco Day here on the Chrissy B Show. Let's all watch this.
When you smoke, the chemicals you inhale cause mutations in your body. And mutations are how cancer starts. Every 15 cigarettes you smoke will cause a mutation. If you could see the damage, you'd stop.
See ya.
Every time you smoke, blood that's thick and dirty with toxins circulates through your body in seconds, increasing your chances of a heart attack or stroke. If you could see the damage, you'd stop.
So World No Tobacco Day is actually this Sunday, the 31st of May 2015. So if you have planned to do anything in support of this day, let us know about it on our usual channels below. So let's give you some facts about tobacco. Well, it's a leafy plant grown in hotter climates and can be smoked, chewed or sniffed. So when a person absorbs the plant in these ways, the addictive chemical nicotine inside is released into the bloodstream. It speeds up the heart rate, raises the blood pressure and temporarily makes people feel more energetic. And as we know, the lasting effects are much more dangerous, and that's why we need to take action now. We need everyone to make a universal effort to stop smoking and help others to quit. Well, today we have a special guest, Linzy Attenborough, and she'll be sharing her story on how she's trying to quit smoking exclusively on our show. And she'll be getting some expert advice here on the programme, so don't miss this. And later on, I'll be joined by Counsellor and Education expert Victor Wilson to tell us more about how smoking and tobacco can affect our mental health and well-being. And we also have Ed Hudson from a charity called Quit to tell us more about what they do and what help they offer to those wanting to quit this bad-for-health habit. And I'll also be sharing with you my top tips on how to quit any addictive habit together with the wonderful coach Chris Browne. But first, let's go to the news with the lovely Helena. Hello to the lovely Helena.
Hello, Chrissy.
How are you, my darling?
Very well, thank you.
So speaking about smoking, are you a smoker or have you ever tried?
I'm not a smoker. I've got lots of friends that smoke, and in the industry we work, there are lots of smokers. But I don't smoke. I have tried it when I was a lot younger.
Okay.
And I even tried snorting it. Only because I heard there's different ways of taking tobacco. And
I think I introduced, did I say that at the beginning? I can't remember now.
I think you mentioned
I did.
it. Madness, but it was just a certain age. And I've certainly never got any of the feeling that you get from smoking.
Okay.
So I'm not a smoker. I don't judge anyone, obviously, who smokes, but
yeah,
I think we're healthier, lots of healthy people if people didn't smoke.
I tried it when I was a child.
A child?
Yes.
As in 6?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mum, she doesn't know this, so if you're watching, I'm really sorry. Well, the thing is, because my dad used to smoke, so obviously we used to like just watch him, and then like when he was out, when he used to go out on a Sunday, we used to take the cigarettes and go in the bathroom and light up and smoke. I don't think we were smoking properly.
I do think certain cultures, like the Mediterranean culture, people will smoke more. It's more free and easy. I know that even in bars and things in Cyprus, let's just say, they'll say no smoking, and then they'll have ashtrays on the bar.
True.
It's completely mad. But anyway, I didn't know anything about this day, so I find it fascinating. And it's the World Health Organization, and it's been running since 1987.
Really?
All those years.
Yeah. We better do our part more than publicising it then.
I know. I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I think because it's the awareness factor. It's not the giving it up for 24 hours. It's trying to promote the fact that people should really think about what they're doing and the damage, etc.
Definitely.
But I remember, as I'm sure everyone does, and I can't believe now that public places, it used to be smoky, like the train, anywhere, working environment, everyone used to be smoking.
Yeah. I remember working in a place actually where it was awful. It was during my work placement. Just everyone was smoking around me. I used to go home feeling so ill.
Yeah,
I
remember fleeces especially pick up smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, awful. Yeah. But 2007 it stopped, and I just imagine if we had to go through a day of that, I think everyone would be.
Although
really
now,
feel
because I'm not a smoker, I don't know why, but it does make me feel physically sick.
Yes.
It's like you can't go outside anymore without sort of walking into someone's cigarettes. So it's kind of before it was kind of like, okay, there were little sections where you could smoke in some places, and now it's sort of like wherever you go outside, everyone's smoking. So I don't know if it's helped in some ways,
it's better, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
It's kind of hard.
But talking about smoking as well, there's people that smoke and do it intentionally, but there's lots of people that die from either passive smoking or that don't smoke at all, and they're just in environments where they've taken a lot of smoke. It's probably not as the same as it used to be sort of in the 60s, but some, do you remember Roy Castle?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was a prime example, really fit guy, great musician. Was it Record Breakers? If you want to be it was Record Breakers. And he died, and he used to do jazz in lots of smoky
He wasn't
pubs.
a smoker?
No, he wasn't a smoker.
You see.
And he, age of 62, and that was lung cancer. Never smoked in his life. So it just shows how dangerous it is.
That's really sad. I mean, I said to my husband the other day, the government should just ban smoking. He said to me, you can't do that. You're sort of taking away people's freedom to choose and everything. But then I said to him, but it's harming people. It's not just harming the person that's smoking, it's harming like those around. And I'm sure if the government knew what damage it could do to people way back, maybe there would have been some kind of law or something. But maybe it's just really the effects are now sort of really
evident. I mean, different countries as well have different feelings about it. Children start smoking from an early age, and it's sort of tobacco plants grown in hot countries, and it's I don't know. But the whole thing about this year, I think they're targeting illicit trading of tobacco. So they're trying to prevent that, which I think is brilliant, because actually if you think about illicit trading, it allows people to, it's not just even the expense and smuggling in, but it's at least, I think if you're selling it, it's like a quality control. Yeah. Whereas it allows people to put terrible things into the product and maybe do worse damage, possibly fatal.
I remember there were people around this area actually a few years ago that just used to sell these cigarettes really cheap. I can imagine the awful stuff in them as well as the tobacco, obviously, but all the other stuff in them.
And because they're cheap, people want them, and oh gosh. Anyway, I find it amazing. And they actually did try. It's a place called Bhutan in Southeast Asia that completely banned it in 2005. But it went, as we said, it went the other way. Yeah. You can't win. So I don't know what the answer is, but I find it incredibly
I'm going to get told off by the viewers that spoke now for saying it should be banned completely.
Oh, I know, but it's the damage, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
But there's people like, for instance, Gwyneth Paltrow was heard say, it was actually for an interview, allegedly, that she smokes 1 cigarette a week to relax. Now, really, she is a role model, and to say that she smokes 1 cigarette a week to relax is a bit... Is that a social smoker? I don't know. I'm not quite sure, but I don't agree with it.
Would 1 cigarette anyway do that to help you relax? Because it gives you more energy, doesn't it? And like help.
It's supposed to make you feel more relaxed, but I don't get it. I understand someone who's addicted and that needs to smoke, but I think just 1 cigarette. And really, she's a role model, and I didn't like hearing that at all.
You don't really see many celebs smoking, do you, publicly?
Not really. They tend to hide it, which pleases me, because obviously everyone, especially children, will look up to these role models and think, oh, I want a cigarette. But I think I was just going through different people, but Walt Disney, we talked about him being depressed and having a breakdown. But he unfortunately died of lung cancer from smoking. But I think the thing about it is that if you're depressed, you're actually twice as likely to smoke than people that aren't depressed. And it's to do with the dopamine, isn't it, in the brain, the feel-good factor, which is quite interesting.
Well, that sort of explains why a lot of people do start any addiction, really. They get addicted to something because the way they're feeling, maybe they're feeling, because with me, when I was depressed, I didn't smoke, but I did start to drink not socially, but I would drink to try and help me sleep at night. So although it didn't become an addiction, but I can see how when you're feeling that desperate, you kind of try to turn to something.
If it gives you that rush, or it calms you down.
Calms you down and helps you to sleep. Then people that are feeling that way, they need something. And unfortunately, many go down the wrong road. Instead of getting the help, they go to something that's more harmful for them.
Talking therapies and lots of things like that. But it's a completely other thing, because nicotine is an addictive thing. So you're obviously nervous and you're constantly looking for the next fix. So it's not good. But also from certain people, especially youngsters, and they think it's incredibly glamorous. I mean, especially in the olden days, Audrey Hepburn, Jacqueline Onassis, who also unfortunately died of cancer at 64. But you can imagine that sort of glamour with the, what do you call it? The cigarettes are in the holders and the hair up.
The holder.
But also it's known to suppress the appetite, which, moving on to models, smoking all the time. And actually in the industry I work, I do get to see models that just do castings, and they literally do smoke just to keep their weight off.
But the thing is, it affects the skin. I don't know if you've seen those adverts. There was this program once on TV that I was watching, and they were showing, I think there was about 6 or 8 youngsters, how they would look in 20 to 30 years if they continued smoking, and if they didn't. And there was such a massive difference. They looked really old. The one of the smoking one looked really, really much older than the other one. Amazing. And it does actually. And I thought that would put. Especially women, I thought that would put them off.
And you think that people actually in the industry as well, but if you think about photoshopping and all the magazines and what they do, they don't have to worry about skin and things. And
people see them in the flesh though, eventually.
I know.
It's like, it's completely different.
I think it's really sad. But for me, there were so many surprising people that smoked. People like, you think, okay, they're young, but Rihanna, she smoked from a very early age, teenager, but she's a singer, so you'd think, you want to protect your voice. Adele, Katy Perry,
quite a few.
Jennifer Lopez as well, and she's a dancer.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah. I'm completely...
We've run out of time. I'm so sorry. We have.
That's really
Thank you so much. You've got loads more to tell us about. They'll have to do their own research and find out.
It's really fascinating. I don't smoke, but I think it's incredibly fascinating. And and I have to say that last commercial, that doesn't put you off smoking.
Don't know what we'll make.
Yeah.
Right. Helena, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.
Right, so up next, it's the story of Linzy Attenborough, who's been battling to quit smoking, and she'll be getting advice right here on the Chrissy B Show. So don't go away.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, today's show is all about World No Tobacco Day, which is this Sunday, 31st of May. And right now we're very fortunate to have Linzy Attenborough, who's going to talk about her battle with smoking. Hello, Linzy.
Hello, thank you for saying that you're fortunate.
How are you doing?
I'm not bad. I am battling. 7 weeks ago, I had a very bad chest infection.
Oh, okay.
And so that gave me the push to quit smoking.
Okay. Had you tried before that?
Oh, yes. I mean, I've actually given up before successfully for 4 years.
Really?
And then went back again.
Oh, wow.
So that's, so that's the thing, you can't relapse. And at the moment, I'd say that I'm still smoking. I'm a social smoker. So when I'm out with friends that smoke, I may have 1 or 2.
Well, where did it all start, though, for you? How old were you when you first started?
About 16, 16. So under 18, as you said at the beginning. And it was just with friends, obviously that I like smokers. I like flawed people. I like people with bad habits. I shouldn't say that on television. I'm not promoting bad habits. I'll be your friend if you're perfect. That's fine. But obviously, I think, sometimes people with addictive personalities are very interesting. And obviously, I didn't know that I had an addictive personality. Oh, okay. Well, you don't know until you become addicted to something that you haven't. But I know now, I can listen to the same song over and over and over again. I get hooked on a song.
Oh, this is very interesting. I'm going to talk to our expert about that later on. I've got a few questions to ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started a sixth form age smoking menthol cigarettes with my friend who still probably smokes menthol cigarettes. And I didn't say her name, that was very close, just in case it's a secret. Basically I became, you know, addicted. And then obviously it became more and more a day, you know, and then obviously when you know you can give up, that's the big thing, because I successfully quit smoking when I came back from India, because they were very disapproving of smokers.
Oh, really?
Women did not smoke in India, but I felt kind of cool for being rebellious there, and I smoked far too much. But when I got back, I was a bit wheezy because obviously cheap cigarettes, and I took up jogging with my mother, and my mum could outrun me. And
that's not a good thing.
It wasn't a good thing. I was like, you know, 20, 21 maybe, was very young, had been very healthy. So I quit smoking, and then I found
that was your motivation to quit for 4 years, was it? Or
well, I wanted to quit smoking. Financial, health. You know, I didn't want to be a smoker forever. You know, it was something that I thought I was doing for my 20s, you know.
I know these advert that you saw at the beginning of the show. Would anything like that put you off before, or didn't it?
No,
make
it still didn't even affect me now. It made me cringe. I mean, I obviously didn't like seeing the inside of a person. I'm not somebody that really likes that sort of thing. But no, you know, it actually has to completely come from me. I'm not really influenced by anything, you know, outside. Certainly not, you know, seeing somebody's black tar lungs or, you know, anything worse. It actually...
So you're going to be quite a challenge for us today, aren't you?
Yeah. Well...
But not impossible.
I mean, we were talking about it backstage before the show, and actually they think, you know, I'm halfway there, so I'm hoping, you know, I'm feeling...
The fact is, well, the point is that you do want to, which is a great start.
And now so it's just maybe one a week, like, you know, or more or less.
But do you find yourself really like, oh, I'm desperate for one, and it's really hard?
Yesterday, I couldn't top up my oyster. Had to walk really far to top up my oyster, so I couldn't get the bus home. Then I waited at a bus stop. There was no bus, and I was really frustrated. And you know what I used to do when I was waiting to calm myself down was have a cigarette.
Right. Okay.
And of course, I didn't have any cigarettes because I'm no longer someone who buys cigarettes. But I didn't smoke, but that's because I had to come on the show today. So, yeah, and I didn't buy any cigarettes, but it was very tempting when I eventually found the place to top up my oyster. I could have bought cigarettes, and I didn't.
Now tell me, Lindsay, because I've never sort of smoked properly before. Just
as a child.
Just pretend smoking until my gran found out and chased me around the house with her slipper and wooden spoon, then I stopped. Yeah, so we stopped that. But... in your case, when you do smoke, or when you did smoke, I should say now.
We should say did, because I may never smoke again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I believe that today. How do you feel, basically? How does it make you feel?
Well, I mean, I know that physically it does make you higher, but it is a stimulant, and it does affect your mental health, especially, you know, your newsreader, I've forgotten her name. Helena was saying... earlier that obviously people do it when they're depressed. Absolutely, I mean, it's my crutch. Okay. So, but the thing is, obviously, you lose emotional control. Any kind of smoking, it makes you higher, and then you get lower, and then so it's, you know, it's apparently as addictive as heroin. So you've got mood swings all the time, and that's why people are very ratty. Smokers are very ratty when they haven't had a cigarette for a long time, because you're craving.
You're very chirpy and bubbly, though. I couldn't tell that maybe you're craving or... No,
well, maybe, I've, well, you haven't worked with me. we just know, but no, I've actually, I think I'm past the physical addiction now.
Okay,
so, apparently when you're under 6 a day, you're past the physical addiction, and I didn't have any cigarettes yesterday, didn't have any the day before, just relapsed a little bit at the weekend, and a little bit at the weekend before. So yeah, it's only when I go out with friends that I used to smoke with as well, you know, have cigarettes socially with them.
What would you expect, or what are you hoping to get off today's show then?
Well, I think it would be wonderful to not feel bad, you know, but sort of have the strength to not go back and not regress and not become a smoker again. I mean, it'd be wonderful to watch this show in 10 years' time and think, I still haven't, you know, I'm still not a smoker.
Oh, we should have you back on, actually. Not in 10 years, even sooner than that.
But I think that would be amazing, wouldn't it? You know, if 10 years' time I still didn't smoke, that would be a magical moment.
I reckon you can do it because you seem to have a lot of willpower already.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's keep our fingers crossed and watch this. I'll keep you posted.
Well, Linzy, you are going to stay with us because after the break, we're going to have 2 experts coming on as well that will be helping not just yourself, but also the viewers at home. And this show is all about helping you at home who have decided to quit, not to, you know, put down anyone that's still smoking or anything like that, because obviously it is a personal choice. So if you have decided to stop smoking, you really want that help and you're finding it hard to do it by yourself, this show will definitely help you. But let's take a look at this video now of some people who have successfully managed to stop smoking.
My name's Brendan. I've been smoking since the age of 18 and this year I quit smoking for good. Smoking never really fitted in with the lifestyle that I lead. I'm a referee and I play a lot of football. I played at a pretty high standard for 5 or 6 years, and the more I smoked, the more difficult it became to be able to keep up, and obviously wasn't a great feeling at all. When I first decided to give up smoking, I decided to do it from a cold turkey point of view. The first 3 or 4 weeks were really tough from the point of view that I was on my own. It wasn't. It was a conscious decision by myself, maybe a manly sort of thing, not to seek help, and giving up was really tough. I then became aware of a local project called Smoke Free United, which was a friend of a friend who was giving up smoking, and he started a football team of guys that were all giving up smoking. They were training twice a week, they were playing games at the weekend. I had almost an emotional support from there on in of guys all looking to give up in various ways, but all looking to do the same thing, and that was stay off cigarettes, and it was a massive help. I would definitely advise anybody looking to quit smoking that using as much help as possible from the NHS and from the different services they provide to do it rather than go it alone, because doing it on my own was tough and getting that help was the best thing I ever decided to do.
My name's Jo, I'm a full-time mum. I'm 32 and I'm trying to give up smoking. My biggest motivation to quit is obviously health reasons and family. My children don't like me smoking, my husband doesn't like me smoking. My son Dylan being the biggest motivation of all. Seeing his little face asking me to please give up, mummy. I said it's enough to make anybody want to stop. I've tried to quit on numerous occasions. I've had inhalators and patches, and I always ended up relapsing, and this time I'm trying tablet form called Champix. For me, they've worked really, really well. They have stopped the urge for me wanting to go out and have a cigarette. I've been using my local NHS services. It's nice to go down to the local centre and speak to somebody about what you're going through. They're really friendly. They're ex-smokers, most of them themselves anyway, so they know all the things to help you and along your way. I think it will have a positive impact on how I tackle anything in life now, knowing that I can do this, which I think was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. If I can beat smoking, then I can take on anything.
So thanks very much to the NHS for that video. Now, if you've had a similar experience to these people and you want to share your story, visit our website and fill in the form there, chrissybshow.tv, or let us know your thoughts or advice on this subject by tweeting us at Chrissy B Show or commenting on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. We'll be right back.
Don't forget to subscribe to The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Hello everyone and welcome back to World No Tobacco Day here at the Chrissy B Show. So we met Linzy earlier, who's been battling to quit smoking, and she's actually doing pretty well on her own so far, but she's going to get more help today on the show because we also have 2 experts here. We have Counsellor Victor Wilson and also someone from a charity called Ed Hudson. Did I get it right without looking at the other? So what did you both think of Linzy's story first of all? How do you think she's doing? I know you've been having a chat with her already beforehand.
They know more about my life than anyone else.
I mean, I was very moved by the story, really, Linzy. I mean, it is a tough deal, and it sounds like you've really been battling with it. And, you know, you've made some great progress, and I can also hear you putting a lot of pressure on yourself as well about where you go to with it. And I'd say, you know, it's maybe time to have a little celebration. Find a non-smoking friend and go and have a meal somewhere and just sort of celebrate how far you've come so far. you know, and build yourself up, because what you're doing can be exhausting, and yet you're getting there. You know, you're making progress. You're feeling better with it, and you know, you can see how far you've come. Stick with it.
Oh, that's nice.
I think you've got a good point. That what I'm afraid of really is that you know, I can't avoid smokers. They are going to be everywhere. This summer I'm going to work away, and I already know that some of my colleagues are smokers. So it's going to be very, very hard to you know, to not smoke, to be a non-smoker in that environment that I'm used to smoking in. You know, it's just, I don't want to relapse. That's the thing. So what kind of support can you give in that sort of a situation?
I think the first thing is that it takes people mostly time to learn how to be a non-smoker again. You were a non-smoker at one point, after all. So it's learning how to be that again and feel comfortable with it, and also feel that when you see other people smoking, it's not a threat to you. They're doing their thing. You may even feel...
doesn't have to follow suit.
I may even feel like, thank goodness I'm not doing that anymore. I don't have to put all that stuff into my body anymore. So I'm now, you know, I've got rid of it and I'm free of that. So it may even be that you could start to see it actually, that you've freed yourself from something. You don't have to be anti those other people doing it. You know, you can be sympathetic and supportive to them, but the fact that you've moved on from that. So it's often seeing yourself differently, and keep telling yourself, you know, I'm an ex-smoker, a non-smoker, and building that new identity that you're comfortable with, whatever you want to call it. So you're reinforcing that. Maybe spend a bit more time with the non-smokers and just start to sort of
time to make some new friends as well, maybe.
That's
not
right.
to get rid of the old ones, but maybe just to have some new ones.
No, and I was
just
just saying, you know, I am going to encourage them to give up. But the problem is that before I became a smoker, I was a really staunch anti-smoker. As a child, I did like talks in class about how bad smoking was. I put my uncle off smoking. He was having a cigarette, and I'd be like, you know, and I was just revolted by smokers at 10. I was a real, you know, not forgiving.
And let's ask Victor as well. In your experience, what do you think how Linzy's doing?
Linzy is an exciting person with so much life.
Tell me about it.
And the thing about Linzy is that Linzy knows where she's at. She knows her demons. And now it's to do the work on the demons. And I use the work with the demons because they would always follow you around. There's a term that I love to use, and that is self-work. And we all must continue to do the self-work, And part of your self-work is, I think, a visualization of a new Linzy, a healthy Linzy, a non-smoker Linzy, a Linzy that exercises and runs and attempts a balanced life. And that is a continual process. It's not something and it's done. It's a continual process. So that self-work of visualization and actualization, getting out there and walking with it and doing it and confronting one's own self. You know, as you meet your your smoking friends, they're exciting people. You know?
Yes, they are.
And, but to hold your end, to come away, to do your self-work, to get back there, to hold your end, I have the confidence that you will make progress and you will get what you want.
Thank you.
Now, something that I found interesting that Linzy mentioned was that the adverts of, you know, the physical health risks didn't put her off.
Yes.
Now, Victor, what are the mental effects that can happen to a person with a smoke? Let's see if that kind of makes you think about it a bit more.
Yes. The thing about nicotine is that nicotine is a drug that affects dopamine. And we are talking about affecting your moods. And so regardless of how you spin it, nicotine is going to affect your moods. Your moods is going to affect your mental health. And so you have this whole array of mental health issues that can follow. Depression.
Insomnia.
Does it have that?
Manic depressiveness, eating disorders, and that whole array that goes with it.
Well, it's like being a manic depressive, isn't it? Just being a smoker, because you're fine,
Precisely.
and then you're craving another cigarette.
Precisely.
And, so it's exactly the same. Your moods are up and down.
Yes.
So it's probably very difficult to differentiate between a smoker and you know.
All right. Well, let's get both of you for now, your top tips for Linzy or someone like Linzy who maybe has been trying on their own to get past this kind of addiction and they're finding it hard. What maybe your top tips for both of you? Let's start with Ed.
I'd say the first thing is, if you mentioned support, and it sounds like it's a tough, lonely journey in some ways, and I think it's and it often can be, and then I think it's important to have people to reach out to if you have friends that are prepared to be supportive. I mean, sometimes you even have smoking friends that are prepared to be supportive. They're going to root for you and be on your side. They may have stopped themselves before and understand your predicament.
They're all rooting for me.
Exactly.
And everyone
Which is really nice, because at least the type of friends that say that don't take you serious and they think, oh, come on, let's just have a smoke. At least they're encouraging you, which is really good. Yeah,
I was never that good a friend to any of my friends. You're making me feel guilty. I'd be the sort of friend that said, oh, it's okay. A little bit of what you fancy does you good. Yeah, chocoholics want to give them chocolate.
And of course, also I can't pass on the fact that also, obviously, like the charity Quit that I'm involved with, we have our website, and if you contact us through the website, you can email us. Then you're going to get through to counsellors and people who will also help you through that process as well. So
it's definitely advisable to get the support that you don't have to do on your own, and also people that understand what you're going through. Because I noticed the first thing that you said, you were very encouraging, and like saying, you've done really, it's really hard, it's a lonely place, and like it's good that you actually understand the person as well, because then okay, this person understands me, they know what I'm going through, so it's easier for me now to relate to this person and get the help, which I think is really nice.
So the counsellors that say, I did call or contact you through the website, what sort of advice, what sort of person would be there? Would they have been someone that had quit smoking? Or?
Yeah, usually. I mean, mostly we come more from a counselling background, so a lot of it is just having spoken to a lot of people over the years who've gone through all sorts of stages. And when you work with people particularly on the telephone helpline, you drop into people's lives. You're given the privilege of hearing them at all stages of their struggle and wherever they are. You suddenly find you're talking to somebody in a bathroom or in a bus or almost anywhere, it seems to me. So, a lot of that is very helpful. So you can always get through to us at quit.org.uk. And we can help to steer in the right direction.
Right. And Victor, you also mentioned the visualisation, but you have some other tips, don't you, as well?
Yes, for Linzy, I would have probably number one tip would be learning to sense those impulses when they come and to interrupt those impulses. Because I think Linzy has a good handle of where she's at, but the impulse to smoke, it comes and it can blindside. And my concern with Linzy is that it will blindside her, and then when she begins this downward slide, it's going to be way, way down, and then she feels bad about herself and what. But if she can sense those impulses and interrupt them, not give in to them, say no, 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 in the moment, I think she would be making very good progress.
Definitely.
That would be one of my tips.
Okay. Now, for the viewers at home, maybe that have maybe tried before and backslid and tried again, and they're just going up and down. Is there any sort of further help for them like that would be really useful, do you think?
I think the phrase that's often used is "don't give up giving up," because some people think they're going to find it incredibly difficult and just stop and never think about it again. And I've spoken to those people, and it's fantastic when it happens, but they happen to be married to somebody that tries to stop and falls down at the first hurdle and finds it really tough going, and so it's very important to keep going and to also be aware of the successes you've had, and often people said, I failed, etc., and it turns out they stopped for 2 months or even a few days, which was great for them. That everybody has a starting point, so it's keeping going with it, seeing where your strengths are, and being honest about the weaknesses. So
not to lose your confidence, basically, as well, if you have tried before, and because you will reach a point, if you keep going, you will actually reach a point eventually where you will be able to stop.
Yes. Yeah. I like what Ed said about don't give up on giving up. Never give up. You just keep on going, keep on going. Today's failure will be tomorrow's victory.
Definitely.
I do believe that.
Do you know what I would like to do, Linzy, if you don't mind?
Oh, I don't know what it is yet.
Well, let's ask her. We can cut it out. She doesn't like it. How about we revisit you in a few weeks and see how you're doing? Would that motivate you a bit?
I think it could be helpful.
Okay, it'll be nice. It'll be nice to see and check up and you see how you're doing.
Okay, well,
Right.
this is it. So they're going to be spying on me. There's going to be hidden cameras. No. So
I'll give
hope
you a little push and maybe keep you going.
It is. But obviously, we were talking about just very briefly. There's the issue once you have given up, because I have successfully given up for 4 years before, and then thinking, oh, I can give up anytime, you know, and that's the problem. But now I've got the fear that I'm not going to be able to give up. So that's my biggest fear. So I hopefully will overcome that. But I hopefully will never fall back into that comfort stage. Oh, I can have a cigarette and, you know, then I'll...
Every time it's different.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it has to be the same again this time.
Yeah, that's true. I'm different. Yes.
All right, Linzy, I hope that's helped you.
Yes, they've been
and
great.
Thank you so much
very much
to our experts today. Thank you so much for coming on and helping not just Linzy but our viewers at home as well. But if you do want more information about either of our guests, you can visit the Chrissy B Show website, chrissybshow.tv. Well, don't go away, because after the break, I'll be speaking with Coach Chris Browne, and we'll be giving our own tips on how to quit any addictive habits. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to today's programme. So it's World No Tobacco Day this Sunday, 31st of May. And here at the Chrissy B Show, we're doing our part to raise awareness about what smoking can do to you and help those who are trying to quit. So I'm going to be sharing now my top tips on how to quit any addictive habit. And I've got our regular resident coach, Coach Chris Browne, with us.
Hi, Chrissy. Listen, that's really good. I believe that everybody needs to quit. You said something earlier on about if you had a choice, you'd make sure everybody quit. I'm not going to stand fence to that. I'm going to say, look, it's time to quit. So let's
time to quit. All right. So let's help our viewers. So the tips that we're going to give, obviously, there's lots of different types of addictions, and like I said earlier, one of the reasons why people do turn to an addiction is because there's a root there. There's an underlying problem that does need to be addressed. So obviously, people should look at that side of things as well. You know, why is it that you is it something that's happened to you, something that you've bottled in, and then you've turned to alcohol or drugs or anything else? So make sure you address that issue first.
That's correct.
Because that's going to help you obviously do the other things as well.
Yeah.
Should we give the viewers our
tips?
Okay, let's take a look at the first one. So number one is get in your head, why do you want to quit? So before you do anything worthwhile, you really need to get in your head first, why are you doing it? And this will actually keep you going. So, you know, the viewers, for example, you could list down all the bad things that can happen to you or are happening to you because of this addictive tendency that you have, and also list all the benefits, all the good things that you get out of quitting this addiction for good. And that will kind of help you to focus. And as we always say on this show, put it somewhere where you can actually see it and read it regularly every single day to motivate you. And
saying a bit further on, it's funny, a friend of mine, Lloyd, he actually got in touch with me and said, look, have you read this book about the why quit, the why question? And he threw up a lot of questions about this for me at the same time. Now, I'll give you a point why I should quit. There are 6 million people, 6 million deaths, hear this, 6 million deaths each year from smokers worldwide. Now, on top of that, there is 600,000 non-smokers who die because of smokers. Is that good enough? Let me give you another one as well on top of that. Here's the reason why you should quit. Look at your mother, look at your father, look at your child, your wife, your husband. Before this show is over at the end of the night, have a look at your child sleeping there. They need you. Yeah, these people need you. It's a good reason to quit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I second that. All right, and talking about second, the second point is to get a buddy to help you. So obviously it's easier to quit something if you do have someone to do this with, you know, like exercising as well. Sometimes it encourages you to exercise.
Yep.
So try and get a buddy, but get someone that's reliable and that's not going to kind of say, oh, come on, you know, just get on with it. It doesn't matter. It's not that bad anyway. You need someone that's encouraging.
You really do. You need someone who's quite positive as well. It's always good to buddy. We do this in businesses, in coaching, in any kind of addiction that you want to get over.
Yeah.
I remember somebody who travelled all the way to Australia who was still in touch with me in coaching about they had an addiction as well. Obviously I couldn't work with them, but they found somebody else out there they can work with and they actually progressed. Having a buddy is very good. It's important. Having a buddy's good anyway.
Yeah, buddies are good for you.
Yeah.
So the third point, because I'll let you speak about this one, because
Sure.
I know you've mentioned this before when you've been on the show, being accountable to someone is very, very important.
It is very important to make yourself accountable to someone. If you're going to make yourself accountable to someone, make it someone who you can actually trust, who actually champions you in the areas that you want to go to. Because you can make yourself accountable to someone. The worst thing you could do is have someone who turns around and says, well, Chrissy, have you done it yet? Da, 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 all the time, and kind of put you down. You need someone who's going to actually champion you from behind, motivate you, take you to the place you want to be. It's good to make yourself accountable, you know?
Okay, so let's take a look at number 4. Avoid temptation. So this one is very, very important. So if you know, for example, that going to certain places will make you more vulnerable, then just avoid those places. So, and also maybe the identify times when you are more likely to kind of fall into that trap again. So if like a certain time of night, you know that you'll be more tempted than any other time, find something else to do that time, just until you get over it and until you get stronger. Because you can't basically you're playing with fire if you are kind of putting yourself in situations and say, no, I can handle it, I'm strong. Don't assume you're that strong. Always, because we are, humans, we have our weaknesses, we have our temptations. So don't put yourself in that situation in the first place.
Totally agree with it. And if you played fire, you're going to get burnt. I mean, earlier on, Victor mentioned about having that pattern interrupted. That's very important, so recognize it, avoid the temptation. That's also the company you're surrounded by.
Now it's funny, but this tip keeps coming up in so many of our, of our advice sessions. Exercise, it just keeps coming up. It's wonderful for you.
It's great. All right, exercise. I've heard it mentioned quite a few times while I was talking here about dopamine. It releases a certain amount of dopamine in your body. Exercise makes you feel good. Funny thing about addictions is you've got two types of addictions. You've got behavioural one and you've also got substance as well. So the behavioural ones, we're talking about gambling, porn, all these other things, right? These are behavioural ones. Addictions, nicotine, caffeine, these sort of areas, all right? We say that we should exercise. Exercise is good, but do you know that exercise can actually turn to addiction as well? So you've got to realise where you've got exercise and how much of it you're doing. Now, the ones with the behavioural, it's a normal release of, exercise, good dopamine. The ones that are, which just flew from my head, the ones that are...
Get addicted to exercise.
Addicted to exercise, right. They're like 10 times the amount of dopamine. So those ones are not good because we come down, you crash. That's why. I
was actually addicted to exercise.
There you
at
go.
one point.
But it's a good addiction, exercise.
Yeah. Well, at least it was kind of healthier. All right, so number 6 is to fill your head. So try to get that addictive craving out of your head by filling your mind with something completely new. So this could be like a new project, something different that you're not used to doing, and that will probably keep your mind occupied and off the craving or whatever it is, which I think will be really handy.
Yeah, being active, involve yourself in other things, other groups. Every time you find that you're just sitting there bored or you're really stressed out, that's the time you're going to pick up a cigarette or something like that. Be active.
Okay, the next one, interesting one, is call on a higher power. So many organisations that help addicts normally include some sort of spiritual step in their programs, because there are some things, Chris, that we can do on our own, and there's some things that it seems to be impossible for us. So which is why prayer helps, or some kind of spiritual connection helps people.
Well, I'll actually vouch for that myself. I'll put myself on the line and say that for me personally, I'm not saying for everybody else, prayer makes a big difference. Everything that I've went through, I'll say those points of actually stress or whatever, and actually focusing, having a focal point. You could be talking about meditation or other things. Each works different for somebody else, but spirituality is the real anchor inside of you that's going to help you overcome situations.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it's just a matter of maybe saying, "Look, please help me. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't do this on my own." Sometimes it's as simple as that, and you get the strength that you need.
Oh, each and every day for me. Every day I get up. I need that strength.
So number 8 is to reward yourself, which is something that Ed mentioned earlier. So, as you're going through the steps, as you find yourself getting stronger and avoiding temptations and getting better, make sure you reward yourself, not with that tendency or addiction that you have, but something else, something new.
Not a cigarette after.
Not a cigarette, no, nothing like that.
No, rewards are really good. It's a sort of training the mind as well, because you aim for that goal at the end of the day. Reward yourself. You don't wait for a pat on the back from somebody else. You can do it for yourself.
And number 9, our final tip for tonight, is to ask for help. So again, we have covered this with Ed, but there is no shame in asking for help. And we did see on the video earlier that gentleman that did quit eventually. He said because it's a guy thing, we don't ask for help and stuff. But the help is there for everyone. There's no shame in asking for help. There's some things that we can't manage. So what's wrong with getting some help from someone that's been through it and can encourage you and give you a helping hand?
There is no shame in it at all. And as you said, as a male as well, we tend to have a lot of pride and hold it there. And, you know, the rate of actually smoking and looking at, because you don't want to end up in a situation where it's too late to ask for help and you're sitting there. You know, I've had a family member like that, from smoking, back to cancer, death, right? Now, that sounds pretty harsh, but I said it deliberately like that because there's somebody sitting there right now thinking, I need this help. Don't wait till it's too late to get the help.
Okay, definitely. And also, we have the details of the Quit organisation that Ed was talking about earlier on our website, chrissybshow.tv, and also another great one called Addiction Cleansing Therapy. You can also find the details of that under useful organisations on our website. Chris, thank you so much for coming along today. It's been great as usual.
It's been
fun. We'll see you again next time
week
on the show.
Okay.
All right, guys, so we are coming to the end of the programme, but most people do make resolutions at the beginning of the year only to break them before the month is over. But remember, it's better late than never, so you can start today and change your life for good. So if you have a story to tell us, an experience to share, do get in touch with us by visiting our website, chrissybshow.tv, or on the other social media outlets that we have. Also, let us know your thoughts and advice on this subject in the same way. And if you're doing anything for World No Tobacco Day, do tell us about it too. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show and learnt something today, as we all have. Until next time, bye-bye for now.